Hello everyone, I'm the Shades and welcome again to Shades' Soapbox. Good lord, I did not think I'd be doing this here, but it seems one member of Hololive Japan is no longer to be able to be spotlighted on the VTubers Guide. For those not in the know, it was recently announced that a member of Hololive's third generation, Uruha Rushia, has had their contract with them terminated, effective immediately, with their channel to be deleted at the end of March. Warning, even though this is scripted, I'm gonna be going a bit of a ramble here because I have a lot to talk about, but I'll do my best to condense it down as best as possible. Let's get into this. First off, this isn't like what happened with Kiryu Coco, where she was able to fully graduate and say goodbye to her fans and fellow VTubers. No. In this case, Rushia was flat out fired. First, a quick look at who Rushia was for those who've not seen her work before. Consider this a very short VTuber's guide. Uruha Rushia's character was that of a Necromancer, but one who was very timid at times, except she had a bit of anger issues. This was most especially when people commented on her chest size, or lack thereof, as she was often called petan, or flat, and even often compared to a cutting board, which she didn't take too kindly to, honestly. She could also go yandere here and there, wanting her fans to love her and only her. But recently, she got embroiled in some major controversy. It all started when her Discord notifications somehow got leaked onto her stream during a collab with Gen Zero member Sakurai Miko playing GTA 5. This was odd enough on its own, but it's what message came up is where things got heated. See, the message that appeared came from Japanese cover artist Mafu, who had actually recently worked together with Rushia on one of her cover songs. The message simply stated that he was finished with his streaming for the day and was on his way home, and then called her by her non-VTuber name, whether it was her real name or another nickname she goes by. I've heard it was a nickname, honestly. However, this combined with a previous incident with her Discord DMs list appearing on her stream and his name appearing there as well, among other things, led to speculation that the two were in some sort of relationship. And as I've made mention of in the past, idols in Japan getting caught having a boyfriend is basically a death sentence, since many see that as a betrayal. First off, let me address this part of the controversy, since it's a common problem that I see with the idol culture, and it doesn't just apply to Japanese fans. Folks, if you got so butthurt that an idol has a private life, grow the fuck up! This all stems from something that the idol culture has cultivated, and even most idol companies tend to enable, that these idols are meant for their fans to think of as their girls. When an idol is singing or speaking to their fans, they are speaking directly to you, and only you. Yeah, I take this a bit personally, as one of my favorite seiyuu and idols, Ai Hirano, got destroyed because of this herself, though that's a topic for another day. This is dumb for two reasons. One, you really think these girls would date one of their fans like that? Let's be honest here. Even if said fan wasn't a stereotypical overweight otaku, it's never a good idea for a celebrity to date their fans, since that never ends well. Two, all it takes is for you to look around you if they're IRL idols, or in the case of VTubers, look at the chat! There are thousands, even millions of other guys who consider her their girl as well, so there's no way she's all yours. So to feel so betrayed like they do over something like this has always felt asinine and makes those who do this come off as more pathetic than they already appear to be. Sorry, but I take umbrage with people who act like this. Don't get me wrong. I get it. This is escapism. These people need to have something in their lives to feel good about it. Hell, I have my own escapisms myself. But my problem is that this goes way past escapism and leads more towards creepy obsession. Even when I enjoy watching a VTuber stream, and even when I want to call them my waifu, I'm fully aware that she's not mine. Yes, this is partially because I'm married myself, I won't deny that. But even if I wasn't, I'd still know that this is all for fun and not to be taken so seriously. But back to Rushia. While some might think this incident was the cause of her termination, the wording in Cover Corp's official press release seems to paint a different picture. This paragraph in particular right here seems to indicate that there's another side of the story that a lot of people may not have been aware of. It reads, and I quote, "It has been apparent for some time that she has been distributing false information to third parties and has been leaking information, including communications regarding business matters. We have been investigating the facts related to these matters. We were able to confirm that she engaged in acts that violated her contract by leaking information that she acquired from the company, as well as communications over SNS, or social media services, both of which she has a responsibility to protect and cause the company to suffer reputational damage, such as publicizing falsehoods to various third parties." Now, I don't know about you guys, but that sounds to me like she was talking to people about stuff she wasn't supposed supposed to talk about. How? Well, turns out she was talking with Japanese drama tuber Kore Kore in an attempt to clear her name regarding the Mafu Mafu incident. But in the process, she shared confidential information, which she specifically begged Kore Kore not to share when she realized what she had told him. But given he was a drama channel on the level of Keemstar, he did so anyway.
はい。で、これね、ちょっとね、これ今から話すことは本人は言わないでくれって言ってたんですけど、これはもう言った方がいいなというもう俺の判断で言うんですけど、まあ一応証拠として部屋の写真もわざわざ見せてもらったんですよ。
She may have also been spreading misinformation about Hololive's activities to other people. Bottom line, this means that she likely violated her NDA, or non-disclosure agreement for those not in the know, which even here in the US is a really big no-no. That's why it's clearly beyond just the Mafu Mafu stuff going on here. She was a moneymaker for Hololive, having taken over as the highest earner in Super Chats after Coco left. So why would you fire her like this? Even Coco didn't get this treatment, as it's clear Coco left on her own terms, but the same does not hold true here. She's been fired, and unlike Coco, her channel won't be staying up as a tribute. It's getting deleted for good. Let me put this into perspective how bad this actually is. Back in my original soapbox on VTubers, I mentioned how the incident with Coco and Hachima led to Hololive ending their Chinese branch. Not long after, two other girls in Hololive got into some hot water with China for bringing up Taiwan and were forced to take a small break to let things cool down, though this also led to Cover ending their Hololive China division as well. Well, I've since learned there was more to that story as well. See, all but two of the girls were actually encouraging their fans to keep the attack up on Coco, basically making them no better than the aunties. The two that didn't, well, they were from Taiwan, so they ended up as innocent victims in all this. So while Cover Corp was originally going to let all the Chinese girls keep their names and avatars after they left, once they found out what these girls were doing, changed that plan and just fully graduated them. But here's the thing. Even they still got a graduation. For them to outright fire Rushia and to delete her entire channel like they planned to do means that this was really bad, far worse than what even the Chinese girls pulled. We're not even sure what else she may have leaked, and we likely will never know, but what we do know is more than enough to confirm she broke the rules. You might not like that she got fired, but I can safely assume this was not what Cover Corp wanted to do. Truth be told, they're actually going light on her. Usually breaking an NDA and leaking private information can get you sued into oblivion, and they'd totally be in the right to do so. But I think even they can see that this was just an act of desperation from Rushia, so they're not gonna make things harder for her than it already is. It may feel like they're making an example out of her, but the way I see it, they're trying their best to do what's right while still doing what they have to protect not only themselves, but the other girls as well. But there is a telling sign about where the other girls stand on this. Shirakami Fubuki. See, when Coco and Hachima were suspended, Fubuki went to bat for them, even being willing to risk her place in Hololive to defend those two. But when news of Rushia's termination came out, she had a much different reaction during a collab with Gen 4's Tsunamaki Watame and one of Rushia's mates in Gen 3, Shiranui Flare.
コメントで声かけてくれてありがとうございます。まずはカバーから出ているものがもう全てって感じなんですけども、まあね、フレアとしても結構ちょっと心境的にはあれかもしれないけども、
まあこういう結果になってしまったのはまあ残念ではあるんですけども、仕方ない部分でもあるので、なのでみんなも支えてくれると嬉しいですね。
我々もやっぱりね、ファンのみんな笑顔にしたいっていうのがね、一番なのでね、まあファンのね、やっぱみんなちょっと辛いかもしれないけども、この面ね、みんなこれまで通り明るく配信はしていくのでね、よかったらこの面のみんなのことを、これからも応援してくれると嬉しいです。
より一層頑張りたいと思います
ね、頑張っていこう。まああとはあれだね、この件についてあんまりホロメンに皆さんからなんか問いただすとか、あまりしつこいコメントとかはね、ちょっとやめていただけると嬉しいです。
Notice how they don't even mention Rushia by name? That's damning right there. When Coco announced her graduation, no one could stop talking about her in all the streams leading up to that day. But here, they're already making her persona non grata. And it's not just this clip. I checked several other clips and other Hololive members who discussed this issue, like Sakurabiko, Okami Mio, and Momozuzu Nene, and none of them mentioned her by name. Now, I am aware of a video the Gen 3 girls did together to say their goodbyes where they did mention her by name, and it seems as time went on, others were able to do so as well, as I later found a clip from Gen 1 girl Aki Rosenthal where she did that as well. My guess is that management wanted to suppress it at first to be safe, but the girls convinced management to allow them to say it. There's actually only ever been one other incident where a member of Hololive was outright terminated in this manner, and it wasn't nearly as a big deal. Back in Generation 1, a girl named Hitomi Chris was supposed to be part of that generation, but then it was discovered she had already commissioned someone else to make her avatar, and when Cover Corps went and helped pay for a new one, instead of using that money to make something in line with Hololive, she just kept the money for herself. When this was found out, Cover Corps terminated her contract immediately. Since Gen 1 had just started coming out and she didn't have any content out at that point, no one really even made a fuss about it. Needless to say, this is very different. Rushia was loved by lots of people with nearly 1.6 million subscribers at the time of this video. But the bottom line is that her sharing things with Kore Kore was the worst thing she could have done, desperation or not. You can be mad at him for basically screwing her over by going public with the info he was specifically asked not to reveal, and yeah, that was totally a dick move. But the fact of the matter is, she gave him info he wasn't supposed to know about, and that's honestly on her. Still, no matter how things turn out, this does not look good for Hololive right now. They were forced to either graduate or outright fire their two biggest successes in less than a year. There's no way you walk away from that without some scars. This is going to be especially hard for the other Hololive girls, especially her gen mates, Usada Bakura, you have mentioned Shiranui Flare, Shirogane Noel, and Hosho Marin. Undoubtedly, people will be looking to them for answers, which I doubt they're going to be able to say much more than what Hololive themselves have already said, and fans won't honestly consider that enough. Look, I get that Rushia being fired like this was a total shock. It surprised the hell out of me when I first heard the news. A lot of Rushia's fans are outraged over this decision, and I don't entirely blame them. Even setting aside the obsessed otaku jackasses, there are many people whose lives were deeply touched by her content, and I dare not take that away from them. I felt the same way about Coco when she graduated, so I'd be a hypocrite for putting anyone down for having similar feelings. But this is a case where Cover Corps had no choice. We know for a fact that confidential information was leaked as a result of her actions. That has been proven, and when possible trade secrets get out, that's just as damaging for them as it is for her. Imagine if she had revealed the identities of any of the other Hololive girls, thus putting them at risk. And given the lengths these otaku will go to, don't you dare tell me that wouldn't be an issue. The fans of that VTuber would rightfully be furious over that. So Cover Corps had to make a call here. We all like to look at people like Yago as this kind-hearted man who loves his girls and would defend them to the end, and to some extent, that is true. I'm not disputing that. But he is still a businessman, and when his business is put at risk like this, they have to make those tough calls. I speak from experience on this, as I've had to make a similar tough call many years ago for those who know the story. This was a catch-22 for them, no two ways about it. Simply put, what Rushia did was unfortunate, but there's nothing that can be done at this point. There's gonna be stuff we honestly never learn about all this for one reason or another. All we can do now is hope she's learned from this mistake and can pick herself back up and move on. This was a tough decision for Hololive to make, and again, speaking from experience, that's something any higher up has to deal with eventually. But I also know this is already causing quite the backlash, but one that was honestly unavoidable. Hopefully, Hololive can weather another storm and can stay strong. Rushia is gone, but like any Necromancer knows, she could always rise again, even if she's not the same person we knew her as before. Let's just hope that what rises from this grave is something that's still able to live peacefully. Anyway, that's gonna do it for me here today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Shades, and we'll see you next time. Rock on!